So, are you a finance leader or you want to become a finance leader and you don't really know maybe what the point of networking is, how to network really well, and maybe some things you should avoid while networking? Well, that is exactly what I'm going to go through in today's video. So, if you want to improve your networking skills or even start networking, then this short video is for you. I have lots of resources on how to become a CFO in a startup or scale up, both focusing on leadership skills, but also how to work within that startup scale up environment and work closely with the founder and make sure that you're useful for a founder. So if that's something that you're interested in, then please hit subscribe or click on some of the guides below, the free resources that we have below, so that you can read more or both. My name's Alysha Randall. I am a fractional CFO, and I also train new and aspiring finance leaders within startups and scale ups. And as I mentioned today, we're going to go through networking. So, networking is a big part of being a leader, and CFOs, C-suites, they will spend a lot of time networking. So not only can it open the door to new opportunities, both from a career perspective, but it also gives you insights into things such as industry trends and also develops a support system for professionals. So I always find that if I'm going to a networking event, not only do I meet people that I could potentially not only benefit from, but also offer my skills from in the future, but often learn something about my role or things that I could implement within my role. So it's actually a really useful way of learning, not just developing relationships. So tips for making sure that you network in the right way is to be genuine and approachable. So, authenticity is a big catchphrase when you're thinking about social media, but often when you're speaking to people, you want to make sure that you are who you are quite genuine. Not only can that help with the relationship that you're building, but also fosters trust. So you don't want to behave like a salesperson, like a strong leader if you're not. You just want to be who you are. It is worthwhile preparing an elevator pitch. So either having a very concise summary of who you are, what you do, either your career goals, if it makes sense, or with the company you work for. So it's very difficult when you ask somebody, oh, how are you? Nice to meet you. Who are you? Who do you work for? And they kind of bumble away and you don't quite understand what they're doing. It's much more useful if you do have an elevator pitch prepared. So not just from a sales perspective, but just so people understand you and what you do. And then, they may pigeonhole you or reference you potentially, but it's just because it's one of the first things that you talk about when you meet someone. If you can clearly state that, then you're off to a good start. Attend industry events. So, looking for a conference, seminars, workshops that are related to finance, particularly if it's within your industry. It's very easy to do this. You can simply just do a Google search. You may already belong to groups or your qualification group, such as ACCA. They may be able to help you with different networking, but ask around as well. You may find, even if you ask the C-suite within your company, they may recommend some industry specific groups that you can also look at. Leverage social media. So LinkedIn essentially is the main one for careers. It's a good way of maintaining connections and showcasing your professional life as well. There's lots of content, of course, that you can engage with other posts on other people's posts to really stay visible. When you're meeting people face to face, you can, meet up with people on LinkedIn as you're talking to them. A good way of doing that actually is if you go onto your LinkedIn app on your phone and you click on your face, essentially, there is a QR code that pops up And so people can scan that QR code to connect with you. It's much easier than trying to remember people's names and then search for them. So definitely try to connect people on LinkedIn when you meet them face to face, but then maintaining that connection on LinkedIn. And then following up, so if you meet someone and you really want to develop the relationship with them, so it's worthwhile then sending a message to express your appreciation and interest in staying connected. So this really keeps that relationship warm and demonstrates your commitment. Obviously, LinkedIn is the best platform to do this, but you could potentially do this on one of the other social media platforms or even email. If you wanted to go to networking events to develop your leadership skills, there is ways that you could do that, and these are a few things that I thought of. The first one is seeking mentorship. So you may find mentors who can give you that guidance and share their experience. Either you're going to a network event whereby they've got a guest speaker and they may actually give you some good experience learnings that you can take away from there. You could even potentially approach people directly, but sometimes it's best to start that relationship first and then look to seek mentorship later on. Joining professional associations. So again, as I said, things like ACCA, ACA, they obviously have exclusive events, but you may find there's more than that. I personally belong to a few professional bodies that are very specific to either women in finance or working in startups or working for tech-based businesses. So have a look at those associations or groups, and that might be able to help you then to give you much more resources to help you on your career journey. Sometimes cross-functional networking can also be quite useful. So looking at leaders from other departments can give you a broader perspective and help you understand other aspects of business. I find this particularly useful actually across the board, in fact. So HR is always useful because often HR falls under a finance leader within a startup or scale up. Similarly with legal, but with both of those, you may find a HR person or a legal person that could help you in your business as well. Tech is also useful, with the AI and new software that you can use all the time. It's definitely worthwhile keeping abreast of tech, but also commercials, because you are interrogating the funnels, the budgets, challenging the business. It's worthwhile having a bit of an understanding. You don't need to become the best person at marketing, and the marketing team are going to be better than you, but at least gives you an understanding of their role and what they're trying to achieve. So when you are challenging the business and reviewing the budgets or business cases, you do understand it a bit better than very black and white from a finance perspective. And then another way you could also develop your leadership role is volunteer for leadership roles, whether that's in professional groups or community organizations, but also charities. So it's a good way of expanding your network, but also really honing in or starting to develop some leadership skills. And of course, when you're looking to upgrade to that leadership role, you do have some experience on your CV. It's worthwhile, obviously, being a resource as well. So if you have expertise to help others, this not only builds goodwill, but also positions you as a knowledgeable and helpful professional. So just a few common networking no-nos. The first one is avoid being self-centered. So networking really is a two-way street. You need to show genuine interest in others and listen more than you speak. You're not going to develop a relationship if you just talk at people and don't take any interest in what they are, who they are, what their problem is, who they work for, anything like that. So really practice your listening skills while networking. This is actually so key in leadership as well. So if listening isn't your natural default, then maybe practicing your listening skills while networking will put you in good stead for a future leadership role. The second one is you don't want to rush the relationship. So building meaningful relationships does take time. You're not going to get immediate results. So you really need to nurture those connections patiently. Networking is a long-term game. It's not short-term. So I have been networking for 15 years in the UK in startups or scale-ups. I now, in the last couple of years, see the same people quite often and have developed good relationships. But it doesn't take 15 years, but it certainly doesn't only take 6 months. So you need to be patient. And then a big, really important one is to steer clear of over networking. So it is quality over quantity. You want to make sure that you're building a few strong relationships rather than just collecting a heap of superficial contacts. But that's also with the networking events. You want to make sure that it's something that's going to interest you. Potentially, the topic may benefit you either in your career or with the business that you're working with. There are so many networking opportunities out there, and every single large corporate, software or insurance or banking, they have so many networking events that you can attend. And, I hold weekly workshops as well, that you can overcommit. Particularly if you're at the earlier stage of your career, you can just fill up your diary with way too many networking events. People with small children probably have less of an issue here because you only have could do one a fortnight, but really make sure that you don't over network, and just focus on those strong relationships. So business networking, it really is a big part of becoming a CFO or a strong leader. It can give you that competitive edge, both face-to-face and social media, following up, seeking mentorship, building strong professional network that both supports your career growth, but also the company you're working for. So I can't stress enough that building that professional network is really important. I don't know how many times I've reached out to a fractional lawyer that I know, or a fractional HR person, or an insurance broker that I have a good relationship with, or a recruitment agent that I know is really good. You often need to reach out to people to help you with certain things, whether it's giving someone business or just asking some questions. So as a leader, you are doing that a lot. So building that professional network as early as possible, because it takes time to develop, is really important. Okay, so that should give you some good tips and takeaways for networking as a future or existing finance leader. As I said, I have loads of leadership guides that you can download for free. They're all below. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.